This isn't just a podcast. It's a reminder of what makes America stronger isn't a headline or a hashtag.
It's people, from the ones building our homes to the ones rebuilding their lives.
Veterans, tradesmen, neighbors, and volunteers. Real people doing real things.
Here we find common ground first, and then we work on our differences.
This is the Collective Perspective Podcast,
where purpose, people, and progress meet.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Collective Perspective Podcast, and I'm here with my best friend, Travis. What's up, Trav?
What's up, Jeff? Glad to be back. This is going to be a good episode.
Yes. This podcast is a habit for us.
It is. It's become a habit. It has over the last, 3 years? 3 years?
It's going on, it's been 3 years, going on 4, yeah.
Wow.
It'll be 4 in November when we started talking about it.
And we've got all of 10 followers.
So if you'd like to, please subscribe, share.
Like.
What we're trying to do is just change your life for the better and just add some conversation, some things to think about. And today we want to talk about the 3 types of habits.
3 types of habits. You asked me this earlier, and my first thought was, what are you talking about? I don't understand the question.
There are good habits, there's bad habits, and then there's sinful habits.
Just for S and G's, what's the difference between bad habits and sinful habits?
Bad habits are things that...
Or is this something?
Let's say,
is this something we discuss later in it, or is it? Because I think this might be something that we should lead with. Is what is a sinful versus bad habit?
Good habits are habits that are good for us. Just the root of the word, but
build us up somehow.
Build us up. So exercise, prayer, conversation, healthy eating. All those are good habits. A bad habit could be anywhere from hey, I started smoking cigarettes to I drink too much at night, or
I take an extra piece of cake at dessert time.
Right. Or you add all those extra calories. One of my bad habits, I feel is bad, is eating after 8 o'clock. So over time, at the time, it doesn't seem hey, 150 calories, whatever, it ain't going to hurt me. But then you go back for seconds, and now it's 300 calories, and you're going to bed. This happens to me all the time. I'm just now trying to break that habit. And it's something I've broken before, but it just comes back.
When it comes to that type of, say, overindulgence, when you just want to eat more, when does that become sinful?
Sinful habits are somewhat biblical. They're the 7 deadly sins. Do you know what those are, Travis?
I know a couple of them, and mostly from a Brad Pitt movie. What's in the box?
Let me read them to you. Anger, pride, envy, greed, lust, gluttony, and sloth.
So overindulgence at a point would become gluttony, wouldn't it?
Right.
So, and that's a bad habit that could turn to a sinful habit if we let it go unchecked.
One of the most intriguing ones to me is pride.
Pride.
Because you should be proud of yourself.
I agree.
But at what point is too much pride?
That's a great question. When is too much pride? I think that maybe a short answer would be when you can't take criticism of yourself.
Yeah, or you just brag about yourself. You're so proud of yourself. That's all you talk about.
And then that becomes something else too, doesn't it? More like narcissism.
Right. Now you start getting into some problems here.
And that's a mental health issue at that point, from what I understand.
And obviously envy.
Envy is jealousy. But
we're talking a habitual envy.
Okay.
So can you think of anybody that you're envious of? Sinner. Just kidding. Maybe we're all sinners, man.
Of course we are. I mean, realistically, we all do things that would be considered sinful. What level of sinful? Don't know. That's up to you to decide.
We all have bad habits too, but what I think was the most underlying thing about the three is that, well, and my wife disagreed with me, and she's right. I would say sinful are habits that lead to death.
I can agree with that.
But my wife said so are bad habits, like overeating.
So again,
but isn't overeating
gluttony?
Right.
So bad habits can lead to sinful habits. Like I said, when left unchecked,
a bad habit could lead to a sinful habit, right? I believe you just said that.
If it goes unchecked, yeah. But what are some of the habits that we do on our daily lives? Like first thing when I get up, I one of my habits is coffee. I gotta have coffee. I have 2 cups. After 2 cups, I'm done. But I still have to have that to get going in the morning. I do my doom scrolling. I'll scroll on the socials first thing just to kind of catch up with the overnight events, and then I go to a good habit. After I'm done doing that, I will do some exercise.
So you switch between habits?
I do.
I'm going to do some bad habits and mix it up with some good habits today.
Well, I think that in the morning when I'm doing that, it's more to wake up my mind and start thinking.
Well, define more what doom scrolling is then. Because, I mean,
doom scrolling,
how far in doom scrolling can you get in 5 minutes?
Not very far. So I'd say that's more reserved for like right before I go to bed, which is not a good thing to do because of the blue light on the phones. So in the mornings, like I said, I just catch up. I play a few games. I'll do my morning routine, and then I go for a run. So I'm trying to break those by cutting back on it little by little, as we talked about in a previous episode, and then going and doing a good habit, which is I'll go for, sometimes it's only a 1 mile walk around the block. All right. I didn't feel like running, but at least I got out and I did a vigorous walk around the block. And or sometimes I'll go for a nice jog, 2, 3, 4 miles, depends on what I'm feeling like that day. So I'm trying, as we discussed in a previous podcast, I'm trying to make those little changes that over time will reflect a big change.
I think over time, if I were to look at the 7 deadly sins and what sins I do commit, let's see. I do get angry, which is a sin. And we talked about it before in an episode where we spoke on gentleness. And that's where you can control that, what could be a sinful habit of being angry, and you go into it with gentleness and kindness. I've actually, and one of my pastor friends was telling me today what happened to you. I told him, I find myself after that episode, telling people like, you should have handled this situation with more gentleness, and then see what their response is.
And that's just it. Sometimes you ask somebody a question or you give them a hot take or an observation and it throws them off. Have you ever received a phone call or called into a place, say you're calling your phone carrier and you want to change some of your service, or you're calling a doctor's office and you want to get an appointment. They say, hey, this is so-and-so with so-and-so. Can you please hold? Tell them no and see what they do. Sometimes if they're actually listening, they get hung up and they're like, they don't know how to answer that. They don't know if they should just start talking to you and address your concerns at that time. But other times they're not listening. They just repeat a phrase and automatically hit the hold button before you can respond. So it's interesting to see. Try that next time.
Here's an interesting twist, is that what usually convinces you to commit sinful acts? I got the answer for you if you want. I'd
like to hear your answer, but I think it depends on the situation. Sinful acts. What kind of sinful act? There are certain things that I draw the line and would never do. However, there may be situations that call for something to be drastic.
The angle I was going is that your heart tells you that what you're feeling is true. I'm sorry if I got really deep on you, but
no, I usually go with gut.
Well,
like a gut
your
instinct.
Heart, your gut instinct. But see, your heart is lying to you.
Yeah, follow your brain. Your heart's dumb as shit.
Well, you also don't follow your loins. But, I guess if you're 18, you might.
Sowing your oats.
Jinx. So like I said, our heart gets us in trouble because it convinces us that we're right, even when we're not.
And I think that can be part of tolerance. When is tolerance bad? When it's done too much. Anything in excess, I think, is where we get issues. And our heart may tell us that this is a good thing to do.
Anything in excess?
Yeah.
Too much love in excess. That's too excessive. But like, hey, you're getting a little
fresh.
Psychotic.
Well, too much love. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give you too much love.
Fatal attraction, baby.
Yeah. Here, look.
Hey, what's this? Yes, I think too much love could lead to like a fatal attraction type of thing. There are instances when too much of anything is a bad thing. Too much oxygen can kill you. I mean, too much of something is never. I shouldn't say never because it's an absolute, but too much of something is very frequently not good for you.
So you've heard the saying, habits are hard to break. Why is that?
Absolutely. Well, because we've trained in it. We've done it over and over. That's why it's hard for people to quit smoking, because they've got that habit. And
it's more than the nicotine is a thing, but it's a habitual.
It's exactly
yes.
habitual.
Yeah, I know. I know where I was going with that.
But yeah, and it's that muscle memory when you're smoking a cigarette. That's why I don't smoke cigarettes.
To me,
Always
it was
something in your mouth.
To me, it was more of like I have to smoke before I go to bed, or hey, let me smoke before I take a shower, or hey, I gotta smoke after I eat. And then the habit of having to go outside to do it, all of that is all habitual things that
I think you and I,
other than the nicotine level itself.
You and I early on, we had my wife, she's never been a smoker. I think your second wife was not a smoker either, was she?
No, only my third wife.
and during that time though, we had to adjust because the smell inside the house was so much for them. They couldn't handle it. So we would go outside, and then, when you're living in perfect weather in San Diego, it's usually not as bad. But even still, it gets cold in the winter. You don't want to go outside and do that. So you stop. I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Well, I can gladly say that this January will be 7 years with no nicotine.
Congratulations. That's
Holy
really
crap.
good. Can you believe it?
7 years. Yeah, because it's gotten to the point where like that's not even something I think about doing. I don't care. It's gone.
Yeah, it's a nasty habit.
He's nasty. A nasty boy. He does nasty things.
All right,
Sorry.
Janet. Some of you will get that. Some of you won't.
So at the end of the day, Travis, isn't it just more about willpower and having that lack thereof? Let me try to say that again. No, having lack thereof.
Yes, however, that can be trained, I think. That can become a habit. Training yourself to do something. I quit. It took me a good two.
Well, that would become willpower's a good habit then.
It is. It took me a good 2 tries to stop smoking. The first time I quit smoking for like 5 years, and I did it cold turkey. I was like, all right, I'm done.
Well, you still vape though.
Now I do. That was after I started the second time back up, because vape wasn't a thing back when I first quit smoking. Why I picked it back up, I don't know. I was in a moment of weakness, and it happened. I picked up a smoke, and I was like, all right, yeah, I remember this. And then I put it back down again, and I transitioned from cigarettes to the vape. And I've weaned myself down from the vape, so I'm hardly getting any nicotine. It's all more of that habituation, that fixation of blowing smoke, if you will. It's something that I have some sort of gratification from.
Some people just say, "Hey man, you gotta pick your vice. We're all gonna die of something. We're all at an old age or at an elder age gonna have pain." I told Amanda, like, "Oh man, my whatever just hurts," and she goes, "Jeff, you just got to realize that at a certain age, everybody has pain. There's no way around it."
No, there's not, and
there are ways around it.
It's hard. It's hard to get around, especially something like that, without help from another vice.
And it could be a good habit if you want to say vice.
Yeah, it could be stretching, yoga. When it comes to our personal bodies and what aches and pains, you get a good massage, do some good stretching or deep tissue like massage, basically, to help with those aches and pains. Because a lot of our aches and pains are musculoskeletal. It's either the muscle or the bones. And a lot of people go straight to drugs to treat that pain instead of finding out what's causing it to be painful. So
anybody out there that's listening, what are some things or habits that you've had issues with? What sinful habits? And if you can identify one bad or sinful habit to work on this week, what habit would that be, Travis?
That's a great question. I think it's still early in my journey right now, but my exercise I want to continue. I was unfortunately it was a rainy mess today here where we are. First thing in the morning when I would be going for my run, so I didn't get outside and do my run. Could I have done something else? Absolutely. Calisthenics don't need to leave the house, and they're actually very good for the body. Push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, doing some pull-ups from a bar in a doorway. Any of those things are something that I should have done, but I did not do. And that's something that I'm trying to work on the off days when I'm not able to get outside and run, to actually do something to wake up the muscles of the body, to get that limberness back into myself.
I'm on the same road. My habits are the things that I'm trying to correct. I mentioned eating after 8 o'clock.
How's that been going for you?
It's been better lately, because usually I'll have excuses like, well, it's just watermelon.
Fair enough.
Which, watermelon doesn't carry a lot of calories, but it's still just the habit, right? It's not really what it is. It's more of the habit that I have to break. And I was really good at it for a while, and you'll find out that if you just stop eating intermittent fasting from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., you'll be amazed on how much weight you'll drop. So I'm still waiting on that. I'm still waiting on that to happen.
So I wonder when it comes to the point or to the time when we just go buy a bag of Werther's and that's our snack.
I've gotten into a habit that every night, well, part of it's like, not to tell you all my personal business, but I have a CPAP. And so I feel like if I brush my teeth, I have to brush my teeth early, way before I'm going to bed. Because otherwise the fluoride makes my mouth feel really dry. But the reason I mention that is because the habit I've gotten in is like I'll chew some sugar-free gum before I go to bed almost every night. They say it doesn't have sugar, but it has
alternative
sugar that's sugar anyway. So maybe it's not, obviously it's not the best thing, but it's sometimes habits are coping mechanisms.
Yes, I can see that. And I use it too. Like that's one of my unwinding mechanisms when I get home. I'll turn on the local news so I can see what the weather's going to be like the next day, make sure I can go for my run. And then I'll just scroll through the socials, catch up on any news articles that I want to read, and then go into some other entertaining videos that I watch.
So, hey, if you're still listening, I encourage you to go out and find some healthy habits to do. Identify what habits in your life are bad. That could be even procrastination. We didn't talk about that. Procrastination, laziness, being unmotivated, not being a contributor, just being a consumer. Those are all just bad habits. And, obviously if you have sinful habits, you should try to definitely reconsider those sinful habits.
And I think the biggest part to doing that is recognizing what triggers it, what makes you want to do those things. You had a stressful day at work, so you're in construction and you almost putting a roof on a house and you almost slipped off. That's kind of stressful. You get home, you want to think about that. Hey, what did I do wrong? Why did I do that? Instead of trying to figure out the root cause of why you almost fell off, some people go home and they just start drinking to forget it altogether. That can be one of those sinful habits, drinking too much and overindulging, being gluttonous in your consumption of alcohol. We've got to be careful with those things. So recognize those triggers and identify where you should maybe think about making a small change. Doesn't have to be a big one. We've talked about that before.
Here's our final recommendations for habit changes is subscribe to this channel and become habitually involved in what we're doing. And helps us go a little bit further, gives us some confidence in just knowing that you're out there. And we appreciate you.
Boosts our motivation and, it does help us. So thank you.
Thanks for watching. And please like, subscribe, and share. This is all good content just for you to think about something different.
Hear what two regular guys have to say about something.
Thanks again. Peace out.
Later, guys.